We thank you listening to the Talk Shop in Studio 255. Laramie's home for the holidays is 93.5 FM, KOCA, Laramie. And in Studio 255 this morning, I have Tom Mattimore. Multitude of positions you serve the community very well, Tom. Thank you for all that service. And we've talked this morning about the Laramie Rifle Range. We've talked about the Planning Commission to a degree. I'd like to continue talking about the Planning Commission activity with respect to an application that came in front of you was presented by Brad Enzi, Laramie Area Business Alliance Chamber Director, and forgive me if I got that title. When they get too long, I should read them, and I didn't do so. No disrespect meant to anyone serving the public in that capacity. Brad Enzi, I really appreciate the Enzi family and their service to our state. And in Albany County, Brad Enzi is doing his vision for the community, and he served as an applicant's representative, and he did so by title of his position on the chamber. And one of the pieces that came about in that was that there was a zoning application change. This was the topic at hand, right?
Right.
And it was an application for the property located north of Garfield, west of Cedar Street, the alleyway of Cedar Street, and the be south and east of Snowy Range Road, east of the Laramie River, absolutely, in an largely undeveloped space that was originally platted for railroad.
It was a railroad maintenance shop.
It was a railroad maintenance shop, and therefore Industrial 2 was that designation, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, now in the application, Brad Enzi, Chamber Director, represented 4G Enterprises. 4G Enterprises,
the Geis brothers,
the actual owners of the property, Terry and Doug Geis, and they are long members of the community in Laramie, and they're the owners of that property, and they expressed interest in changing that zoning designation from I2 to R3. And tell us about the designation. What's allowed under Industrial 2, and what's suggested and has now subsequently been passed to its full implementation, an R3 designation.
So there were two projects involved in that. The first one was a change in the comprehensive plan. Comprehensive land use plan designated that area as industrial, so it needed to be changed in the comprehensive plan before we could change the zoning. Industrial, I2, you can get all kinds of noxious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, packing plants.
90-foot manufacturing
50
building.
Yeah, 50-foot. What was one of the proposals was a 50
height.
It's 50-foot tall storage
structures
building.
and junkyards and all kinds of things were possible.
Junkyards, definitely, contractors' yards, manufacturing. It was, it's the kind of stuff you don't want to live next to.
Although next to a waterway, I don't believe that in today's climate, the Department of Environmental Quality would probably allow certain things to seep into our waterway first bay.
To start with, even though it's R3, whatever they do there is going to have to get approved, number one, by FEMA, otherwise nobody will ever get insurance on there. It's going to have to be approved by DEQ. It's going to have to follow all the regulations, being next to a stream side. It's a 30-acre parcel, and there's no way they're going to use it because a lot of the northwest corner of it is in a type 1 flood zone, which you can't build anything on. Because that means the river will regularly flood there and take that land. So probably about 15 acres of it, you're not going to be able to build anything on.
I didn't hear any discussion on the Wyoming toad, a endangered species that's known to be
No, there was
an
not brought
occupant
up.
of Laramie, Wyoming area, in the basin, and it seems where water runs, toads may
They
as
generally
well.
follow, yeah.
And in any event, there's a lot of interest in this. The West Side turns out.
This
Generally,
they do. You
the
gotta
West
love
Side
'em.
residents didn't all favor this zoning change, did they?
No, they didn't. They were not sure of exactly what was going on and what would be allowed under R3. With the West Side property owners fought very hard to get the historic designation. Now, I went to a few of those meetings, and the entire original Laramie West Side is now a historic designated area, which means the next thing on the list for them to do is to get a zoning overlay that will restrict what kind of buildings can go in there. So it maintains the historic character of the area. But
It's a possibility, but you're not going to find multi-unit housing fitting. You're not going to find it like or similar to the historic homes that were built and platted and found from the 1800s and 1900s. They're all small homes on railroad, very slender, deep railroad tracks and lots, and so it's not going to. It's really a concern for a lot of folks. And one of the things that was really important to me was it seemed like the commission was guided towards no choice. After you changed the master plan, it seemed like there was no choice. If somebody wanted to change the zoning from I-2 to R3, there was nothing that the commission really had at its
we're
discretion to follow the residents' input.
We have a lot more say on a plat. When they go to develop it, we can reject a preliminary plat saying you don't have enough drainage, you don't have this, you don't have that, and we can reject that. But the zoning change itself, we are kind of constrained by following the ordinance. And if they meet these requirements under the ordinance, we could change the zoning. And besides the comprehensive plan, Thrive Laramie, all these plans that the city of Laramie has codified saying we need more housing. R3 is housing. You can't have light commercial in there like a mini mart or something like that. But basically the city wants more housing, and the ordinance is set up to do that. So we were kind of constrained on it.
Also, R3 multi-unit housing, the Thrive study asked 146 respondents, let me say this, 146 respondents participated, and the result of those was 3% wanted multi-unit or would accept or were interested in multi-unit dense housing. 97% wanted something else, anything else. Didn't indicate that they wanted multi-unit housing. Now, that aspect of the Thrive study it's really overshadowed. And now it seems that piece alone seems like the tail wagging the dog in terms of what's going to be most profitable for a landowner, the most units that you can put on any one space, right? And if the Geis family could have sold the property and profited to their satisfaction in such a way as an I-2 designation, you could largely expect that they would have done that, or could have done that, maybe should have done that. Yeah. They didn't have to have the approval of a master plan change. That affected and impacted how many residents along the west side were within 300 feet of that space.
Almost none.
Well, there's a number of them along Cedar Street that received a public hearing notice for a recent city council meeting for a date that didn't exist in the calendar year 2025. The notice said Monday, November 18th, 2025 at 6:30 at 406 Ivanson Avenue. That date didn't exist. No. Monday was November 17th, Tuesday, November 18th. None of them Monday, November 18th, 2025. Not one. Yet that 15-day required period of consideration by the public disallowed any legitimate, arguable opportunity for those members in that 300-foot affected area, and there's adjacent property owners.
Yeah,
whether they're in a home or whether they're a contractor or you name it, whatever they are, they didn't have an opportunity to petition council with 15 days proper notice. No confusion.
That was a
when you have
complete
confusion, Tom, would you argue that that's an appropriate public notice of public hearing or an improper?
No, that was definitely improper. Typos are important when you're dealing with legal documents. And that was, the public notice was a legal document, and somebody should have proofread it.
Two of our city council members specifically noted in the meeting, Micah Richardson, vice mayor, and Jim Freed, Ward 2 city council representative, both indicated essentially how unfortunate the typo was, but it wasn't going to stop their vote in support of the passage.
It should have.
And it should have delayed it, shouldn't it?
Yeah, they should have delayed it, but
So why do we bypass the rules? It seems, I've heard this stated to me when I explained that situation, that scenario. I had a member of the community say to me, "Rules for thee, not for me."
very old expression. They should have postponed it. That's just my opinion on it. And if it had happened in the planning commission, we would have postponed it.
Yeah.
If,
So is it reasonable for people in the public to not feel listened to?
yeah.
So does
there's a
that
certain,
encourage or discourage?
that should
public
encourage you to
involvement?
go and speak more often.
You would
That's what
think
it
so,
should do.
but
Yeah.
but it's equally understandable that the public will say they'll throw up their hands
And walk away.
and they'll walk away and they'll turn and they'll just hide their head in the sand and they'll just go about what they can control because they don't feel the engagement results in a meaningful result for them. And what I struggled with is rules have gotten set aside severely in this 2025 administration of council. And one such set aside is a 3-minute speaking rule per agenda item. And that is something that you said in the planning commission, you'll set that puppy aside. And I gotta really appreciate that because you are using discretion, aren't you? You're using discretion in that way.
It's a discretion I feel I have.
That's right. And if you're
Nobody's
gonna serve,
told me not to.
You're not paid. You're not paid to be the planning commission chair, are you?
No.
And so, as such, you take a little latitude with that. And in doing that, if you have 500 people come to speak on any issue, or 5 or 0, you manage it accordingly, don't you?
Yes.
And you still keep decorum.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with decorum. Most people will tend to stand up and say, I don't want to repeat what the previous person said, so I'll limit my remarks to this, and this.
Right.
I mean, that happens quite often because they've heard it all before from 3 different guys.
Right.
There's no point in saying it
Well,
again.
sometimes-
But the public is respectful of that.
Yeah, and sometimes the public is even discouraged from making comments during a public hearing comment period, and therefore they give up their 3 minutes in the public hearing to only get 3 minutes in the agenda item being considered at a later time in the session. And that's not necessarily the scenario in the planning commission. You guys have a friendlier environment when it comes to meeting
We
coordination.
try, at least I try.
And you guys still get an immense amount of business considered.
It's not immense, but we try and keep the city
The
planning
impact,
functioning.
when I say immense, I mean powerfully important. I mean the impact of the decision that you make on any given agenda item has immense ramifications. There's a
talking
ripple
about-
effect. There's
Yes.
a ripple effect in everything we do.
So that's why we consider this stuff carefully. We try to. And by the way, if somebody feels they're not heard, we have a vacancy on the planning commission. Go apply.
That's right. Get in it. Get on it. Who interviews planning commission people
The
serving?
application will go to Derek Teeney or Phil Gabathuler. They'll look at it and they'll send it on the
And who are
council.
those? Who are Teeny and Gabathula for our
Derek
audience?
Teeney's the economic development person.
Formerly the planning director.
Planning director. Philip is the planning director.
Right.
They will look at the application and then turn them over to city council, and you'll be interviewed by 2 city councilors.
Right. Okay. So in that span of time, you could be on the next meetings board in what, 1, 2, 3 meetings. You might find yourself sitting in that empty spot.
Yeah. Show up.
And you just probably need to live according to the territory. You probably have to be in the affected area of planning commission's
It would
consideration.
help if you have some background in development, construction,
Yeah.
the law, land use. Although we have one member of the board who's a retired veterinary pathologist. We have another who's an engineer, worked on water. We have the county engineer who lives in the city is also on the planning commission.
So a great group, and what's the attendance? Introduce our audience to some of those people that are influencers on the commission that sit. I know the right side is more familiar to me than the left side group, but how about sharing that with our audience?
Well, we have Chris Moody. He's worked for decades on the Casper Aquifer. He's basically an engineer and geologist. Then we have, let's see, we have, my brain is going blank with names. We have Rick is the county engineer and an independent engineer who's also on the planning commission. We have, oh God, my brain is going. Can't remember names. Donald O'Toole.
Donnell O'Toole is on the right side, and he's one that I was familiar with, as other things have brought me to be acquainted with him. The Wyoming Coalition for Animal Protection, one of the groups that
he's a veterinary pathologist by trade.
By trade, retired, yeah.
Yeah, he retired. He ran the vet lab at the university for many, many years. Then we have Jana White. I'm not sure what her background is. I think the university. She's really sharp. She's quiet, but she's sharp. And then I can't remember. I don't know. Not enough coffee, I guess.
Well, no disrespect intended by anybody omitted or left out of this list, but I wanted the community more familiar with who other people might be that they could talk to if they have concerns or issues. And one other such resource that you can look at and go to is the City of Laramie. .org. You'll find all of these planning commissions, and you'll find the roster of people.
Yeah,
and
you can
their
email
their emails are available. If you have a question, you can write straight to council@cityoflaramie.org, and they will help. 1 of 9 have to respond to you and inquire. And if not, I would attest that address your email to clerk@cityoflaramie.org.
She'll make sure the council
And Nancy is a champion rock star. She doesn't ever get enough credit. She keeps such a diligent neutrality through all of it. She sticks to the rules, and the guidance is always to the letter.
She's great.
If there's an error made, I swear it's not Nancy's fault. The opportunity is there to be involved. And you talk about if somebody's interested, they could sit on that. Who are the liaisons from City Council for the Planning Commission that you serve?
Oh, like I said,
Matt Lockhart's one.
Yeah, Matt Lockhart is the main one for Planning Commission. And
he's Ward 3?
Yeah, he's Ward 3, 14-3.
Okay.
And he's pretty sharp. He's building a new building
The
and
Human Being of Laramie in
Yep.
West Laramie.
He's building one
just
in
off
West
Snowy Range
Laramie.
Road.
Yep.
It's actually addressed on a side road of that area, but it'll be readily visible and have frontage to Snowy Range Road. So
Yep.
congratulations, 2 locations to serve Laramie, the Human Being of Laramie, and one of the powerful influences of the community are people that engage as business owners and individuals supporting nonprofit events all year long, and whether it's Cure Cancer or Trunk or Treat Laramie, or
He's right there
on
everything.
There's 4-H and so many endeavors. The Lockharts, Matt and Davina Lockhart and the Human Being are right there and integrated into the community, and so I'm most pleased with their contributions to the community, and it doesn't matter if I'm pleased or not. That's what they do, and that's just what happens with the Human Being of Laramie. Tom Mattimore, our guest here on Studio 255 ground in the Laramie Plains Civic Center. What else might you say with respect to Planning Commission actions in 2025? What are you most proud of in the initiatives considered by your group? What was most important that you'll watch with a mindful eye going into 2026?
To me, the most important ones are the little ones. Guy comes in for an accessory dwelling unit,
Right.
kind of thing. Yeah, I'm a big fan of those. Guy comes in, he wants to, raise the height of his garage. When he's building a garage, he needs to be 2 foot taller than the house so he can get his motorhome in it. I'd rather see the motorhome in there in a 2 foot taller garage. Those kind of things.
Or versus street side.
Yeah, street side.
And coming to all the issues considered on the streets, right?
So
yeah.
I'm all in favor of that. To me, I really enjoy the little ones.
Okay.
And it's
the impact on a case-by-case basis.
Yes.
Those applicants really matter for you. That's
Yeah.
good. Everybody's got to have their drive. Everybody must know their why.
Yes.
And what your pain might be somebody else's pleasure, and that is the conundrum of our community.
The one I'm most proud of, though, is we had a fellow down. Go on.
Go ahead. Yeah.
We had a fellow down on Riverside Drive who had a landlocked parcel. Right, it was landlocked by his own omission because he purchased his mother-in-law's back property to build his house, and so he has a big parcel there, and he owns a construction company, so he wanted to put in a barn for his machinery and his shop and stuff. But it was too close to the landlocked parcel that he also owned. There were technically 2 parcels. He owned both of them, and he was too close to the second parcel, so planning staff said, no, you can't do that. So we went through it, went round and around, and finally we said, yeah, just give him the variance, let him do it, right? I mean, he owns both sides, and just do it. And so we voted for that. And that's when Derek turned around to Philip and said, never think you've got the Planning Commission sold on anything, because they will do stuff like that. Now, that one, we had the legal basis to approve it.
Does city staff work for the public, or do they work for the council?
I think the planning staff is extremely helpful to the public. They didn't used to be, right? But we've got some good people in there. They're very good with public relations, and they will help guide you through. If you go talk to them and work with them, they will show you the pitfalls of anything you want to do in development or changes or anything like that. But they will also show you how to present it. So if you want to go to city council with something that they don't like, they may recommend that we deny it, but they will help you and assist you
To do it
how
properly.
to present it,
Yeah.
to do it properly. So
Right.
I laud the staff of planning. I think they're really on the ball.
Our segment, this section, brought to you by Deviant Tattoos and Piercings on Garfield Street across from the VFW 2221 in Laramie. And Tom Mattimore, thank you for joining us. We'll have one additional topic ahead after this on the Talk Shop. 93.5 FM, Laramie's home for the holidays.
If I could steer